We are just a few days away from training camp, Broncos country. Welcome into the Broncos studio. I am your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, here with lead writer on DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla, and Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. With training camp upon us, it's hard not to get excited for the start of the 2025 NFL season, with kickoff being here at home. But when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, how can the Broncos take that next step in 2025?
Well, I would say defensively, continue to have that aggressive, dominant style of play and try to pick up where you left off. We got a lot of guys coming back like we talked about in previous videos, and you got to come in here with a little bit of swagger, knowing that, hey, you played well last year, but you got to put the work in to get back to that same level. And then I would say offensively, continue to build those relationships, continue to rely on one another. The offensive line, you got to take care of your quarterback. You got to make sure that you're making holes for these new running backs. And you got to protect so Bo Nix can see the tight end so we can throw those passes down the seam to attack the middle of defenses. Just some additions to what we've been doing well the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think for me and Steve, it starts with changing our clothes. We've been wearing the same clothes for the last 4 weeks, so that would be a good start.
This is like, I feel like you guys are just doing it for good luck for training camp. Okay,
it's good luck.
We were just in a groove week after week here with these videos.
They basically sleep here. I go home and come back, but they just like hibernate and then they get ready for analysis.
That's right, and when I think we're off to a fast start here with this video. I think a fast start is key for the Broncos this year. Obviously, 1-5 in 2023, 0-2 a year ago. They've got to find a way to start quicker. And the schedule sets up in a way where that's possible, I think. You have home against the Titans. You think that you'd face number 1 overall pick Cam Ward, and this defense facing a rookie, albeit a talented rookie, should be able, I think, to find some success. Then you go on the road, and we'll see who starts for the Colts there. But a game, a schedule that maybe allows you to start fast if you play up to your potential. So I think it's that, and then it's stringing wins together. Sean Payton talked about that any team that goes on to have success, you find a way to win 4, 5, 6, 7, I mean, on and on, games in a row. And certainly you look back, Steve, to when you guys had success and won those Super Bowls, like there were these long win streaks. So to really compete for the division, which I think is the ultimate goal as they laid out at the end of last season, to get a home playoff game, you've got to start fast. You've got to string wins together. And I think you've got to embrace and, find a way to also cope with the new expectations. Last year, nobody believed in you externally. This year, everybody expects you to do something. How do you handle that sort of pressure? It seems like they're doing a good job and that they have the right mindset, but we've got to see it play out on the field too.
Yeah, and we got to know that they're expecting us to play better, and we got to expect ourselves to play better too and to show up for those big games. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing when teams respect your play from previous years, and but you got to go out and do it. You got to put the work in practice in order to be able to execute effectively on Sundays. And I think we have the guys. I think we have the coaches. I think we have all the pieces there. We got to stay healthy, and we got to put in the work.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a minute ago, the offense taking that next step, building relationships. I do think, like we talked about in the last segment, so much of it comes down to Bo Nix, right? And can your year 2 quarterback take a step? It's a quarterback-driven league. We saw Bo Nix's potential a year ago. If he can play to his potential this season and elevate the guys around him, which I think he does so well, this team can start fast. This team can string wins together. This team can challenge the Kansas City Chiefs for that division and hopefully get a home playoff game and then, get in the playoffs and see what happens. But this is a team with higher goals than a year ago, but they seem poised to meet them based on everything I've seen this offseason, and now they try to put the work in when training camp arrives.
Well, I think the shift in culture and mindset is a really big part of what's going to make this team successful. When you talk to any of the coaches, they really emphasize, look, last year was last year. We're starting from scratch again. Yes, we did some good things, but we're going to really look back at all the tapes, see what we did wrong, see what places that we could improve, because there's always a way to improve. There's been an emphasis offseason of like not wanting to take a break. We have to continue to work hard because we got a taste of the playoffs, and that's not enough. We want to win a playoff game. To your point, we want to work hard to potentially get a playoff game at home. And I think protecting home field is a big part of it, and it all starts week 1.
Yeah, and, having that little bit of success last year, it does make you want to have more. But You do. I mean, I wish you could come into the season with, 10, 12 games already won, but you got to start from ground zero. You haven't won any games yet. You got to start back over and get on a streak early on and keep it going.
Well, you also know what it takes now, I think, right? A lot of young guys, they experienced their first playoff game, and obviously the score ended up a little bit lopsided in Buffalo, but for a while there, midway through the third quarter, one possession game. So I think they understand now a little bit better, like, what does it take to win a playoff game? You go to Kansas City and you have a near upset of the Chiefs. Like, what does it take to close that out?
Yeah.
You go to Baltimore, you go to Cincinnati and face these playoff caliber teams, these high-powered quarterbacks. What does it take to win those football games? I think the Broncos last year, their wins were almost all by double digits. They had a lot of success when they won football games, and a lot of their losses were by one score. Like, they were close, but they couldn't quite get over the edge. So I think part of the next step, too, is finding a way to win those one-score games, particularly against really good football teams. That's what's going to take you from 9, 10 wins to potentially 12 or 13 and pushing yourself up that playoff leaderboard.
Another key thing is just winning those division games and going for that division title. Well, as we close out the offseason, we can't wait to see you guys at open practice for training camp on July 25th. As always, I'm your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, here with lead writer on DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla, and Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. Make sure you stay tuned on our YouTube channel for all things Broncos, and for the latest, visit DenverBroncos.com.